The skeletal system. The skeletal system is for you grade 9. We already have it in your book and in your copybook. We're going to have a quick revision over the skeletal system, muscular and integumentary, and then we're going to have another revision for the circulatory, and then we will start the revision for all what you had for your quarter 3. So the skeletal system. The skeletal system is formed of the bones, the cartilages, and the connective tissue that connects them all together. As we said, the adult human body contains 206 bones. What are the functions of the bones? First of all, the first function is the protection. Your heart is in your heart and lungs are in your rib cage for protection. Your brain is in your skull for protection. Your spinal cord is within your vertebral column for protection. Second, we have storage. The bones, they store minerals, as for example magnesium and calcium, that make the bones strong. Also the long bones, as the bones present in your leg and some of the bones present in your arm, they have what we call yellow marrow that stores fat. Movement. If you have a broken arm or a broken leg, you cannot move. So the skeletal muscles, they pull on the bones to produce movement. Without bones, you cannot move. The blood cell formation. Inside the bones, we have a soft tissue which is called the bone marrow that is responsible for forming blood cells. What are the types of blood cells that are formed? Red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. They are all formed within the bone marrow. Now we're going to go to the structure of the bone. Here is one of, yes, this looks really good. So the structure of the bone. Of course the bones, they look like they have no life, but they are actually living organs. We have on the outside a part of the bone that looks like it has no pores in it, and this is called compact bone. And then we have another part that looks porous and it has many holes in it. We call it spongy bone. And then we have on the inside the bone marrow. And here is the yellow marrow that I told you about. We said that the yellow marrow stores fat. So we have on the outside compact, in the inside spongy, and totally in the middle of the bone we have the bone marrow. The bones are formed of cells which are called osteoblasts. Where does the bone growth come from? Before being fully formed bones, most of your bones were formed of cartilage. We said the cartilage is a type of soft bone as the one present at the tip of your nose or the one present in your ear. These cartilages, they form in the bones what we call growth plates. These growth plates, they remain cartilage as long as you're growing. Once these growth plates, they totally change into bone, this means that this bone is not going to grow anymore. Finally, we're going to talk about the joints. The types of joints that you have in your body. The joints are the meeting points of the different bones. At the meeting points of bones, they are not meeting right away, because otherwise they will be very noisy and you won't be able to move properly. So at the meeting points of bones, we have what we call the joint. The joint contains of a ligament that connects the bone together. It is formed, every bone ends with a cartilage, which is a type of soft bone, to make sure they are not gliding against each other, and there is some fluid. What types of bones do we have? We have here the gliding joints. What types of joints? First of all, we have the gliding joints. The gliding joints, they allow the bones in the hand, for example, and wrist, to glide over one another, and it gives some flexibility. The gliding joints, they move right to left and up and down. Where do we have them? Wrist and ankle. And then we have the ball and socket. The ball and socket, they allow the movement in all directions, like your shoulder joint and your hip joint. And finally, we have the hinge joints that allow movement in two directions only, like your knee and your elbow joint. So these are basically the components of your skeletal system. What could be the problems that can happen in the skeletal system? First of all, we have a problem of the bones, which is called osteoporosis. Osteoporosis means that the bones, they become porous. They become like all spongy and they are not hard enough. and in this case the person gets broken bones very easily. Another disease that affects the joints is called arthritis. It means that there is an inflammation of the joint and it causes pains and redness of the joint. We can also have a dislocated joint. What happens when the joint is dislocated? Location means place. Dislocated means that it's removed from its place. If the joint is removed from its place, means that it needs to be returned to its place, and it's usually painful. If it happens for people which have weak ligaments, because the function of the ligaments is to keep the joints in place. If they are not keeping the joints in place, they are going to have a dislocated joint. So this is an overview of the skeletal system. Then we're going to have another overview of the muscular system.